Hi, today we're going to take a look at polynomials. What is a polynomial? Well, it's an expression in math that contains variables, coefficients, exponents, and constants. Here's an example of a polynomial. The numbers 3 and 2 are coefficients because they are located in front of a variable. X is our variable, 4 and 3 are exponents, and 6 is our constant. A constant is just a number that has no variable associated with it. We normally list polynomials in descending order with the largest exponent. And this polynomial only has 3 terms. Each one of these is a separate term. Polynomials can have as many terms as you want. Right. The first thing we're going to look at here is how to evaluate a polynomial. So the question is evaluate 2x squared plus 1 if x is equal to 3. All that means is take x in this polynomial and replace it with a 3. So we now have 2 times 3 squared plus 1. And using our order of operations, we have to take 3 and square it first. So that's going to be 2 times 9 plus 1. Well, that'll be 18 plus 1, which is equal to 19. So the expression, polynomial 2x squared plus 1 at x equals 3 is equal to 19. To simplify a polynomial, we just combine any like terms. And like terms are terms that have the same variable. So we have the example here, 7r plus 3r plus 2s. We can combine the r's together, just like we have 7 apples plus 3 apples. We would now have 10r plus 2s. Now, we can't put these two together to make 12rs. We can't do that because this r is different from s. Right, now let's take a look at adding and subtracting polynomials. This is actually very similar to simplifying, but you have to be careful with some things. So we have the example here, 6a minus 3a squared plus 2a squared minus 3a. Now I'm noticing I have some a's and I have some a squareds, and they will play well together, so we can combine those. What I like to do is just rewrite everything. So I have 6a minus 3a squared, and I'm rewriting it without the parentheses, plus 2a squared. You might want to think of this as distributing a 1 there. Because it's positive, it's not really going to change anything. Let me redraw that distributing in there. So 1 times 2a squared would just be 2a squared. And then 1 times negative 3a would be minus 3a. So now we can just do what we did up above and simplify and combine any like terms. So 6a minus 3a would be 3a. And negative 3a squared plus positive 2a squared, that would be negative 3 plus 2. That would be a negative 1a squared. I don't need to write that 1 out in front. So I have 3a minus a squared. And I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we do like to write our polynomials in descending order. So that means I would need to move the negative a squared to the beginning. And then there's an invisible plus in front of that 3a. So this minus doesn't go with that 3a. So that answer there would be negative a squared plus 3a. Our next example, we are subtracting. So again, I'm just going to go through and rewrite it, but I'm distributing in this case a negative 1 on this second half here. So I'm going to start out, keep my 2x squared plus 4x cubed. And then I have negative 1 times 3x squared. That's going to be negative, or 3x cubed, sorry. That's going to be negative 3x cubed. And then I have negative 1 times a positive 8. That's going to be a negative 8. Now you want to be careful. If this was a negative here, you'd have a negative times a negative, and that gives you a positive. Right now we're just looking for any like terms that we can combine here. We don't have any x squareds besides this first one, so we can keep that. We do have these two in the middle that are both x cubed, so we have 4x cubed minus 3x cubed. That would give me just a positive 1x cubed. And again, I don't need to put the 1 in front. And then I have no other constants, so I have 2x squared plus x cubed minus 8. Now I'm not done yet. I'm just going to rewrite it using the exponents in descending order. So the x cubed is the highest exponent, and that's positive because of the sign in front of it. And then the x squared has no sign in front of it, so that's positive. And then the 8 is negative. So our final answer here would be x cubed plus 2x squared minus 8. Alrighty. And then we're going to finish up here with multiplying polynomials. The first example here, we have a monomial, which is a polynomial with one term, times a binomial, which is a polynomial with two terms. And you can get into trinomials as well. So we are going to just distribute the 7n over the 6n plus 3. So I'm going to take 7n times 6n. So we're going to do multiply the coefficients first. 7 times 6 is 42. And then we have n times n. Now think back to your exponents from the other day. That is n times n is n squared. And then we're taking 7n times a positive 3, so there's going to be a plus sign in the middle. 7 times 3 is 21, and we just have one n there. So the answer there would be 42n squared plus 21n. And our last example today is multiplying two binomials. You may have heard of something called the FOIL method, where you multiply the first two terms, the two outside terms, the two inside terms, and the last terms. Or people may have called this like a double distributive property. So if we follow the FOIL method, the first terms that we're multiplying in each binomial are x and 3x. So x times 3x would be 3x squared. Again, x times x is x squared. And then we're going to multiply the outside terms. So the outside here is x, and the outside here is a negative 3. So x times negative 3 is going to be negative 3x. And then we're going to multiply the inside terms. So my two inside terms right here are negative 1 and 3x. So negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x again. And then we're going to multiply the last term. So the last term here is negative 1. Last term here is negative 3. So we have negative 1 times negative 3. That's two negatives multiplying. So that makes it positive. And 1 times 3 is 3. Right, we're not done yet. We have to combine our like terms. We only have 1x squared. So we keep that as 3x squared. We have 2x terms. So we're doing negative 3x plus another negative 3x. So that would be negative 6x. And then we end with our plus 3. So there's our answer there. So that is evaluating, simplifying, adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials.